how are you today? I hope you feel good, you feel better. I hope you don't feel, exhausted and tired and bored. I think for the first time the whole world have, the same feelings, including boredom, feeling exhausted, fear, um, worriness, different feelings because of the virus. But again, the whole world is sharing the same facts, which is like to read about the issue we are facing these days, to be aware of what to do, what not to do. We all share, or we all have the same idea about, being clean. Let me say, okay, we all share the same ways and methods of, trying to aware other people who, to aware our children, and to let them feel also responsible, and to feel like it's not easy to go through this, okay? But what we need is to read a lot, actually, to read about the causes and let me say the symptoms, and the serious, real symptoms, okay? Many people get confused because it's like, coronavirus share the same symptoms, or have the same, almost, not exactly, almost the same symptoms as flu. So, we need to differentiate between both of them. Reading is the best solution, getting aware. But first of all, try to make your sources of information trusted and authentic, okay? You don't have to trust any let me say, any source, okay? Just go to ask, doctors, medical sources, and you know what to follow. That depends on each country and each source of information. Today we are going to talk about different things related to three skills. Okay, we have listening and speaking and reading. Fine. The listening one, it could be about as I already mentioned. Like, we can talk about three kinds of listening questions. Like, it could be listen and fill in the chart, listen and answer the questions. It could be listen and continue or complete the sentences. It could be like listen and check if it's wrong or right or not given the information, or not mentioned, okay? These are the most common kinds of questions related to listening. Reading is a little bit different because we are going to read a passage, as I already mentioned. The passage is going to be about, could be a lecture, could be a story, could be a chat, could be an article, a paragraph related to different topics, okay? Generally, the topic that we are talking about in the unit, and here it was about traveling and being away from home. The third thing, in speaking here, I can help you in giving you tips, okay? In like imagining the situation, let your imagination feel the situation, let me say, and try to imagine yourself in this situation, and you want to talk about like the situation here. It's like being away from home. So if I'm away from home, okay, what experiences I'm going to mention to my friends and my family? What will I miss if I'm there? Okay, or what would I miss if I were there? Because this is like a real situation I'm imagining. Okay, so what can you feel? What things you need to know about the culture you're traveling to. This is a very, very, very important thing. It's okay. It's like crucial, and significant to know about the culture you're traveling, to read about the culture you're traveling to or you're visiting, to know how people deal, to communicate, to know, what's okay there. To do, what's not okay, what's okay to talk about, and what's not okay. We have some cultures, or this is this varies, okay, from culture to culture, but many cultures have their taboos. Taboos is like something you're not allowed to do, in that place, because it's considered very very bad, very offensive, very annoying, very bothering, whatever. Okay. So if I'm away, if I were away from home, experiences or difficulties I might face there, or is first one, communication, right? Communication related to what? Communication related to the language first. Like, it's a huge, it's a huge barrier, let me say, if I don't know the language of the people I'm gonna deal with. Okay, so language is the first difficulty, obstacle. Second, okay, to adopt the culture, to be open, let me say, to be open-minded. Okay, being open-minded is something, I know it's related to the personality itself, but you know that it's a skill you need to learn. Okay, to be, if you're not open-minded person, if you're not open to others in general, okay, you need to learn this skill, because it's very important if you are traveling abroad or if you are visiting a different culture, especially a culture that is very, very, very different from yours. Okay, let me say you are from Syria and you're traveling to Thailand. This is like, very different. America, very different. Any kind of, any place in Europe is very different. So you need to be aware of the culture, of their traditions, of their ceremonies. Let me say on special occasions. So like, this is like what you need to do. First, the language. Second, to read about the place and to know what to deal with, what not to deal with, or what to do, what not to do, what to say, not to say. Imagine, like, also if you are having a small talk with somebody, you should know what you are saying or what you are asking. Okay, so it's like in some places, like, it's not okay to ask about the family members of the person you're talking to if you don't know him. Okay, in other places, like, it's not okay to ask about how much money do you make. Okay, so this is a very embarrassing question, could be. Again, but it's okay, fine to talk about, study, cinema, movies, weather. It's like, the first question in every small talk you're having when you communicate with a person for the first time. So as I mentioned, like, here we have different topics. I am away, I skipped the idea. So back to the idea. Okay, I was talking about speaking. So you should know how to speak. You should know what to say or what to speak about. Imagining the situation is very, very important. So this is what I wanted to say about speaking. I can help you in imagining the situation only. And giving you examples. When I give examples, you try to give yours. Okay, and in this way you can learn. Actually. The most important element in conversation or in speaking is vocabulary. So you need to find a way to memorize as many vocabs as you can. Okay, let me say, like, make it as a daily routine to learn like 5 new words every day and try to use them in your speech. Okay, try to replace words with words that you don't know and they do have the same meaning. Okay, like, instead of saying I'm very, very tired, you can say I'm exhausted. Okay, so try to I'm done. Okay, I'm totaled. Let me say I'm dead. In case, like, you're so exhausted and tired. So in this case, try to use different idioms, different words, different vocabulary to say the same or to express the same idea and meaning. This is what another way to learn. So vocabulary is very important. Make it as a daily routine. Make it as a skill. Okay. Make it as an achievement. Okay. So every day you say, like, my goal for today is to learn 10 new words. Okay, 10 new words. In this case, like, you're at the end of the day, when you tick this goal, okay, including, like, we all have a list to do. So when you tick it, you will feel like very pleased and happy and comfortable by that a mission is accomplished. Okay, this is the idea. The previous idea I wanted to say about the 3 skills. Now let's start with the first one, which is listening. Here we are going to listen to, different people speaking about, all of them are away from home. They're going to speak about their experience. We have a chart to fill, okay? Filling that chart has two, columns, let me say. The first column, we have what they miss, and the other column, we have like other information on other details. It's very important, as I said, to know the main idea of the listening. You don't have to go into every single detail to fill the chart, okay? This is from the first listening, of course, from the first time we listen. So when we talk about the first listening, we have two tasks. Main idea, which is what they miss, and other information or other details. Of course, they can be sub-details, okay? The second listening, if you want to learn like what they say, you can go into all the details and things they talked about. And this is very important again, because they might mention, because all of them are native, okay? By the way, we call it this kind of questions because it's for the public, okay? We call it vox pop. Vox pop is like when you ask the majority of people to take their opinion about something, or it could be like a person in the street, okay, and you take his opinion about a situation. Fine, this is like what we are going to do now. So let's check the page and read the question. Yes, now this is the question I was talking about, okay? Question number 1, which is, have you ever spent time away from home? Again, if not, you try to imagine the situation to know what to speak about. Where did you have a good time? Here you need to learn a lot of adjectives to describe the time you had, okay? It was wonderful, amazing, spectacular, nice, bad, terrible, horrible, mad, sad time, or, frustrating time, things like that. You need to learn a lot of adjectives to describe the experience. Write down one thing you missed from home, one thing. Here they are asking us to write only one thing. If you are imagining the situation, try to imagine more things. We're going to talk about this later after we finish the exercise. As I mentioned here, like they said, write this on a piece of paper. By the way, it's a good way, or it's a good method to listen and write down, okay? This is very important, especially if you're planning for IELTS and TOEFL, because when you are planning for IELTS and TOEFL, I said to have the certificate of IELTS and TOEFL. I already said that, and I'm gonna say this again. You are going to listen to a whole lecture and write the most important details, main details and sub details, because you are going to be tested in these details and information, okay? Here we have, as you can see here, we have the chart. The chart has, it's about 6 people who are away from home. We are going to mention what they miss and other information. I'm gonna stop after each person to tell you the main ideas he mentioned or she mentioned, he, she, okay? Are you ready? Let's start first with Margaret. Yeah.
There's only one thing I really miss about where I come from, and that's the sea. I'm originally from Yorkshire, and although I came to live here in Germany 30 years ago, I still miss the northeast coast of England. There's just something about the sea. Where I live now, there's a river, and I often go down to it. There's some nice walks along the banks. It's lovely, but it's not really the same. The thing about the sea is that it changes all the time. And not just every day, but every time of day. Every wave that comes is different from the last one. In my hometown, when the tide comes in, the water comes right up the road, and then when it goes out, there's just miles and miles of sand. It can take an age to walk to the sea. It's a source of amazement to me every time I see it.
Okay, Margaret, Mrs. the sea. Okay, so what she missed is the sea. Other information. Now she's in Germany and she goes for walks, you know, by the river in Germany, but to her it's something completely different to be by the sea, or you know, having long walks on the sandy beach. To her, the sea is more amazing and you know, more beautiful than the river, because it's the sea is completely different. It's changeable, like during different times in the day. Every time she goes there, she finds it in, you know, in a different situation. She also likes the waves, okay, which to her is very nice. The waves are amazing. Also, she mentioned the tide, when the tide, you know, goes out and then, you know, in. It's to her, it's very amazing. You know, the tide. Okay, it's when the sea goes into the land, and then when it draws back. So this is the tide. It's a phenomenon which is related to the, you know, to the sea and the moon, the gravity of moon. Okay, so this is like what she misses, and other information we already mentioned about Margaret. Let's move to the second person.
Murray.
The thing I miss about Scotland is probably the weather, believe it or not. Up there, the air is quite crisp and clear, and the temperature is cooler. I find where I live now, in Madrid, it gets so hot and humid in summer, and a little bit sticky as well.
Rob.
Before we move to Rob, Marie, what she misses from, you know, Scotland? The weather, okay? She misses the weather. Why? Because, crisp and clear in Scotland, okay? It was clear and crisp. When I say crisp, it's like, you know, cold and cool in a very nice way, in a good way, in amazing way, let me say. It's not bothering, this kind of, you know, cold. Also, here in Madrid, which is in Spain now, so it's very hot. So from Scotland, it's complete different weather, okay? It's very hot and sticky. It's like when we say humid, you know, because of the weather that, you know, in places that are close to the Mediterranean Sea is kind of, you know, humid, okay? It's like, also she said sticky, you feel like this bothering, you know, feeling, especially in summer. Okay, now let's move to Rob.
All right, well, I've been living in France for the last 20 years, and I suppose the things I miss most about Britain, my original home, is, well, first of all, the obvious things, like every Brit living abroad. I miss some typical English foods. For me, that means curry, digestive biscuits, brown sauce, porridge, and, of course, good English bitter beer. What else do I miss? Socially, I think I miss the way that people go out together in Britain. I miss the chat, the banter. I miss meeting friends in pubs. Or the way that people talk to each other at football matches. I miss that sparky British humour on a day-to-day basis. On a perhaps a more serious note, I miss having a vote. In Britain, you lose your vote once you've been out of the country for more than 15 years, and because I haven't taken French nationality, I don't have a national vote here. So I don't get to vote anywhere these days. I guess that's one of the things I miss most.
Wow, he misses a lot, okay? So Rob misses a lot. First, he is in France. He's, you know, a British man in France. So what he misses, like, he misses different things. He misses I'm talking about, you know, the main details here, like he misses the food, the beer, you know, how people socialize, okay, in Britain. Also, he misses the, you know, what British people are famous for, which is, you know, the British sense of humor, you know, like feeling, you know, they say a lot of jokes, okay? This is what he misses in France. Also, like, he misses being able to vote, okay? He has been in France for a long time now, so he cannot vote in Britain and he cannot vote in France because he hasn't taken, you know, the French nationality yet. Okay. Also, he missed, you know, if I want to talk about other details, he missed also the curry. You know, different types of food, British food, like the curry, digestive biscuits. You know, digestive biscuits, right? It's made of oatmeal and, you know, full oatmeal. Also, he misses the porridge, okay? Also, like the brown sauce, the beer, and also he misses like meeting people and friends, especially in pubs. The way they argue and speak about football matches. He misses like he has been away from, you know, from Britain for a long time. So you know, almost the most important thing to him is that he cannot vote anymore. Okay, until he gets the French nationality. So this is about Rob. Let's move to Joe.
Joe. So things that I miss about the UK, the first would be bread. The bread here in the States seems to stay too fresh for a long time, and it doesn't actually make particularly good toast. And being British, toast is an important thing. And another important thing is related to work. I found working in the US surprisingly different from the UK. In the US, it's very important to be very upbeat and positive about what you can do, which, you know, is true to a certain extent in the UK. But I think in the UK, it's kind of okay to be good at what you do and just get on with it. Over here, you're kind of expected to be a salesman, you know, like you should be selling yourself and your abilities. I guess in a way, the Brits are just a bit more modest at work. And I kind of like that modesty. I'm not particularly good at selling myself. I just like to get on with my job, and I don't feel the need to tell everyone how good I am, but that's kind of the way things are over here.
Okay, so to Joe, Joe is also another British man. He is in USA, in different place. Okay, what he misses most is the bread. Okay, the British, you know, bread. The people being modest at work. Okay, so these are, you know, two main details. Talking about the other information he already mentioned, he said, like, you know, the US bread is almost seems to stay fresh for a long time and soft, so it's not good to be you know, kind of toast. Also, people in the US, let me say, know how to sell themselves at work. He means it's okay to be, you know, good at work. He likes to do it and to get along with work and to be very, very amazing, you know, and very successful. But he said in the US, they know how to sell themselves. To sell themselves is to make kind of advertisement, you know. They know how to speak about themselves and abilities, okay, to speak and to advertise their skills, okay? You know, they have the mentality of salesmen, most Americans. To him here, like he said, like, I prefer, you know, the way British people work and modesty at work, okay? Let's go to, you know, two people here.
Tatiana and Sam.
One thing I miss living in England is the food from back home. All the seasonal products and the enjoyment of going to the farmer's market to buy fresh cottage cheese from a lady that your grandma has known since you were little.
That's right. Apricots, melons, tomatoes just don't taste right in this country.
Yeah, and it seems that the most elusive fruit here is a ripe watermelon. I keep buying them, but every single one is a disappointment. I'll always miss the watermelons we used to get from the south of Ukraine.
That's right. So, enough about food. What I miss most is the language. There is nothing quite like walking along the street and feeling like you are part of something bigger than yourself. Hearing your own language. I always feel a bit small when I'm abroad, and all I hear is a foreign language. It's like I'm a bit insecure and I'm missing something. It's hard to explain.
I know what you mean. Also, I find it hard to be away from home on national holidays. Some of our traditions are just impossible to recreate. You just don't get the same feeling of people coming together to celebrate in the streets.
Okay, guys, Tatiana and Sam miss, different things from home. Okay, they miss the food, food and fruit, vegetables. Also, they miss their own language. It's so hard to communicate. All what they hear is, a foreign language, or they hear different languages, which make them feel insecure. Insecure, like they don't feel safe in the place because that you don't have the feeling of being home. Okay. Also, what they miss is holidays, national holidays, and traditions. Okay. So these are the main ideas. The sub main ideas are like fruit doesn't taste the same and right in the UK because they can't get them ripe. Like watermelons and different other different fruit. Also, Sim, as I said, like feels insecure because all what he hears is he hears different languages. Tatiana talked about the national holidays and the traditions. She said like she cannot have the feeling of recreate her own tradition and celebrations in different city because again you don't feel like you're home. Okay, it's like when you celebrate something you used to celebrate at your home and you want to celebrate it in a different place, it's a complete different feeling because maybe you will not see this the whole place is celebrating. It's only you. It's could be related to individuals. It's not the same for sure, and it's not the same feeling. So that let them feel insecure in the UK. Okay, in the UK, and this is like what they missed. Now the last person is
Sean. I live with my dad on the East Coast, but I visit my mom in Florida lots of times a year. The one thing I miss is my drums. You see, I'm in a rock band, but I can't travel with my kit, so I have to leave it at home. Dude, it's like torture. I can't wait to get home to Dad's and sit at my drums and get playing again. My mom says I miss them more than I miss her.
Okay, Sean, misses his drums. Okay, he's in a rock band, but he cannot travel, having his drums with him all the time. What he misses, like visiting his mom in Florida most of the time. Also, his mom said like she knows that he misses his drums more than he misses her. Okay, this is like a joke. Whatever. Okay, so. That was about the listening. We talked about for question number 4 and question number 5 are not to be discussed here. You just read them. Try to think of yourself away from home. Try to find what you are going to miss. You might miss your room, your family celebrations, your fight with your family members, but whatever. So this is like what you misses actually. Okay, what you could miss, laundry and feeling. We call it homesick. Okay, it's homesick. Like you feel like you want your bed, your room, your the neighborhood, communication, feeling comfortable talking to everybody because they all have the same language. So communication is not a difficulty. The weather could be okay. It could be like friends hanging out together with friends. It could be, summertime, wintertime, activities you do here and there, things like that. So you know what to speak about. Okay. Now, I think we are ready to go to the second step, which is about reading. Reading, we have different skills from, listening. What we are going to do here is to know the kind of article we're reading. First, by reading the title. The title can give you an idea about the text. Second, by reading questions. Questions can give you also some details you need to know about the text. It's important to read. Sometimes here in IELTS or TOEFL, you don't have listening through reading. Here we are going to listen to some parts and extracts taken from the text by the person, by Sarah, who is the person we are going to speak about now. Sarah is, 5-year-old Indian boy who was lost and then found again by his family, or he managed to find his family again. He was separated from his mother at the age of 5. And then, after 25 years, he could find her again using technology. So this story brought attention to technology and how important technology can be in our lives, and not only to waste time. It's also can be very helpful in humane situations. Here, Sarah was working with his brother in a train station. He was a sweeper. A person who cleans and sweep floors and roads and streets. Then he fell asleep. Okay, now let's listen to parts of what he said about his story. Let's read the questions and then let's go back to the text to find the idea. I want to tell you something about skimming. Skimming is a way that you read to find the information you want. Okay, so briefly, skimming is like reading to find the information you want. That means not to stop at every word or vocabulary you don't know the meaning of, not to stop at every sentence. It's like just skim to read fast to find the information you are looking for. After answering the questions and understanding the main idea of the text, you can go back to the text and read it, to enjoy it, and to learn about the vocabs you couldn't know the meanings of. Try to find ways or to put them in different examples and sentences to learn them. Okay, and in order not to forget them. So here, let's read the text. They said cover the text. Okay, so don't look. And then listen to some of the things that Sarah says about his story. Okay, so from his speech you might figure out what happened to him. I already told you something about it. The other questions we already have are: where did Sarah fall asleep? How old was he? Why was he scared? And which city was he in? How do you think he ended up in Australia? Okay, this is another hint. What do you think is the significance of 14 hours and 1,200 kilometers? Here we have a quote: I zoomed down and bang, the waterfall where I used to play. How did he zoom down? What did he find? Number 7, why didn't he recognize his mother at first? Number 8 is what did his mother do? What couldn't she do? Okay? So here we have the questions and we have the title, which is Lost and Found. Now let's listen to the track and try to figure out the main details about Sarah's story. I'm going to tell you something about Sarah's story when we finish, okay?
1.8 Lost and Found.
It was late at night. We got off the train and I was so tired that I just sat down at the train station and I ended up falling asleep. It was a very scary place to be. I don't think any mother or father would like to have their 5-year-old wandering around alone in the slums and train stations of Calcutta. I was scared. I didn't know where I was. I accepted that I was lost and that I couldn't find my way back home, so I thought it was great that I was going to Australia. I multiplied the time I was on the train, about 14 hours, with the speed of Indian trains, and I came up with a rough distance, about 1,200 kilometres. When I found it, I zoomed down and bang! The waterfall where I used to play. The last time I saw her, she was 34 years old and a pretty lady. I'd forgotten that age would get the better of her, but then I recognised her and I said, "Yes, you are my mother." She grabbed my hand and took me into her house. She couldn't say anything to me. She had a bit of trouble grasping that her son, after 25 years, had returned. She had long feared I was dead. You see, a month after I'd disappeared, my brother was found in 2 pieces on a railway track. We were extremely close, and when I left my mother, I was heartbroken, knowing that my older brother had passed away.
Okay, so this is part of his, story. He mentioned the feelings and how he got lost, how he managed to find the place, and how he felt when he found his mother, and what his mother did and what she didn't do or she couldn't do, when she saw him. Okay, let's go back to the previous page, okay, which is lost and found, as I said. Okay, so the thing that I wanted to say about Sarah's story is true. It is a true story, okay, and it's meant to be a movie later. In 2013, it happened into 2013. Now, people are trying to make it as a movie because it's real. This movie brought a lot of attention to technology, as I already said, and and to adoption. Okay. Anyway, Sarah was he was working in the train station with his brother. Then he fell asleep. The time he spent, falling asleep changed his life. Okay. He ended up after, on the train. He fell asleep on the train, and then he ended up in a different city, the city called Calcutta. They speak different language, and he was only 5 years old. He couldn't manage to communicate. He doesn't know the language. Also, because he was so young, he couldn't spell the name of his hometown. So, if anybody, asked him at that time about the name of his town, he couldn't answer because he didn't know how to spell the name of his hometown. Then he couldn't do anything, and no food. He was scared, afraid. He saw children his age, younger and older, trying to find a way to live and survive, which was begging. So he started to beg for money and in order to survive. He ended up in a different, he was taken to a place where he was adopted. Okay, and an orphanage. Okay, so he was adopted by an Australian family. The family took him to Australia, where he settled down and grew up. And during the time he was in Australia, he tried to find where he was from. He kept thinking of his hometown and his mother. So he used technology, but to use technology, he was trying to use Google Earth. So he multiplied. Okay, he multiplied the time he spent on the train, which was 14 hours. Okay, and the speed of Indian trains, to know that he spent about, or he traveled about 1,200 kilometers. Okay, then he zoomed down the place, and zoom down to make it closer, and then he could find the waterfalls where he used to play with his brothers and friends. After that, he went back to India to try to find his mother. When he met his mother, she was a completely different person. He left her as like, a lady in her 30s and, beautiful lady. But when he was back after 25 years, okay, he barely could recognize her. She got older and she looked tired. His mother couldn't do anything when she saw him. Actually, like there are other details, like when he went back to his home, he knew from neighbors that, she moved to a different place, and, his family moved to a different place, but one of the neighbors still know where she was, and he took her to her, and she couldn't do anything. She couldn't say a word when she saw him. And then he was in, he felt bad when he knew that his brother was, I think a month later, was found into two pieces, dead, okay, and his mother couldn't find him anywhere. So this is the story of Sarah. Okay, I know it's a sad story. So let's go back to different words we need to find here, by the way. Like the words that are highlighted in blue are the most important words that, you need to know the meanings of. But answering the questions first, let's go to the questions. The question like, where did Sarah fall asleep? Okay, Sarah fell asleep on, at the station. How old was he? He was only 5 years old. Why was he scared? Because he was alone with the slums, and slums mean like a poor neighborhood, okay, a poor neighborhood populated, but it's like, what controls there, or what's dominating, is poverty, and it's a striking area, a very bad area. So he was scared because he was in this city, or in this place, and also because the station, the slums, and the train station in Calcutta, so it's a different city. Okay, so he was in a different city. Because of that, he was scared. Of course, I'm giving you now the answers, but what you need to do is to read the text. Okay, it's a nice story to read and to learn from. Here the first question is like, how do you think he ended up in Australia? He was adopted by Australian family. What do you think is the significance? Significance is the importance. Okay, so 14 hours and 1,200 kilometers. I already told you. He multiplied the hours he spent on the train with the speed of Indian trains, to end up that he traveled about 1,200 kilometers. This is the idea. He said, I zoomed down and bang, zoomed down what? Google Earth. Of course, he used Google Earth to find the place, and he zoomed down to find the waterfalls where he used to play when he was young, okay, or where he lived as a child. Then we say like number 7, why didn't he recognize his mother first? Because she got older, tired, and that was 25 years later, which was like very long time, and he couldn't she looked older than he remembered. The last question, what did his mother do? What didn't she do? Okay, and what did she do and what couldn't she do? Okay, what she did is that she took his hand and invited him to her house. Sorry. What she couldn't do, that she couldn't say any word. Okay, because of maybe surprise, happiness, sadness, whatever. Exercise 3, read Sarah's full story. Now you read the story in details, and are these statements true or false? Okay, correct the false ones. Okay, if you can see here, like sentence number 1, Sarah and his brother both had jobs cleaning the trains. Okay, which was true. And then second one, Sarah fell asleep at the station in Calcutta. This is wrong. Okay, he ended up in Calcutta. He lived on the streets and continued to work on the trains. Yes, he lived on the streets, but not to continue, working on the trains. He worked as a beggar. Okay, he asked people for money in order to survive. And the next one is he was given food and shelter by a man. Shelter, like a place to live in. Okay, a place to live in. Yes, okay. This is like true, but he was given food and shelter by a man. Okay. But Sarah didn't trust him. He learned not to trust anybody. Because of that, he didn't go with him. He ran away. Okay, he escaped. He was adopted from an orphanage by an Australian family, which is true. He had a happy childhood in Tasmania. Yes, true also. But what we mentioned here, like, okay, he kept thinking of this. Okay, he kept thinking of his family, but it was happy childhood because his family was okay with him. Exercise 7 or number 7. When he found his mother, his hometown, his mother was still living in the family house. This is false. As we mentioned before, she moved to a different place, and one of the neighbor told him about where he could find her. He moved back to live with his birth family. False. No, but he kept in touch with his family. Okay, he didn't come back to live, but he kept in touch. He started, he continued visiting his mother. What do you think? Would Sarah be happy living back in his hometown? Sorry, I don't think so. I don't think he could, feel happy. This is my opinion. Why not? Because, he lived in a complete different culture, in a complete different city, with different traditions. India is not easy India is not easy to live in. Okay, especially his hometown seemed to be like very poor. They had and his mother had a very bad conditions to live in. Okay. Also here, why would his story make a good film? Because first it's like a long story. It took a whole life. Okay, like almost whole life, more than 25 years. Also he we can learn from his story. He had a very bad and difficult childhood, which was spent mostly before he moved to stay with the Australian family. He begged. Actually, I think he was maybe bullied by other people and the children. He was maybe a lot of children could beat him at that time, or maybe he was hit. He was treated badly. We can think of different conditions that it depends on the movie and about the details. Here we have the main details, but the sub details can make a very, very, very amazing movie. Also, like, who in your class has ever used Google Earth? I think you need to ask people, maybe you, maybe other people, I don't know, whatever. Okay. Now, what I wanted to talk about is like the highlighted words in blue. Okay, first we have a fateful nap, which means like a nap that changed his changed a life. Okay, it was like very, very important period. The second word, we have hordes of people, which means like a lot of people. Okay, we have huge crowds, huge number. Sleeping rough is to sleep outdoors wherever you can. Okay, but of course it's not easy sleep. It's very difficult to sleep in this place, and It could be on the floor, it could be on, desk, it could be, linked to a wall or something like this, so you can find it very difficult. Okay. Then we have like another word after, like, if you notice the speech, okay, we find like put up for, like, to offer, okay, put up for adoption, to offer him or he was offered adoption. To fend for himself is like to support and to care for himself, because no one to take care of him. The second page is here, like settle down means like to stay in the place, to find a place and sit and live. Okay, settle down is to live. Let's go back to on the other side we have like okay, we have grasping, which means like understanding. Okay, understanding that this is her son. Grasping means understanding. Down we have shabby, we have struck gold. Struck gold means like great success. Blanking means with no expression. Shabby means like poor. And foul play, which means like let me say dishonesty. Okay, but here like whether foul play was involved in this, like, but here means dishonesty or illegal behavior. Okay. This is what I wanted to say about the vocabulary here. Okay, now after the reading, and please send me any questions you have about the reading, about tips and ideas you want about the reading. We have vocabulary and pronunciation. Vocabulary and pronunciation, is about using different vocabulary in our sentences and to learn, about different vocabularies. Now we have and the way we pronounce them. The vocabulary today is about compound nouns or words. What are compound words and nouns? They are two words, okay, which can have different meaning, okay, which can be like a verb or adjective to create a new meaning or a new word. Like when I say life and style, okay, together they can be lifestyle, and they can be they can have different word or different meaning. Okay, when I said like a compound noun is like two words that can be adjective or noun. When I say lifestyle, this is a noun. Okay, and when I have the word lifelong, okay, this is an adjective. Here we are going to have compound nouns with life. The words are lifestyle, lifelong, life size, life expectancy, and life insurance. Which ones are adjectives and which one are nouns? Can you figure out? Yeah, okay. We have two adjectives and the three nouns. The adjectives, as I mentioned, one of them which was lifelong and life size. Okay. The other words are lifestyle, the other nouns, lifestyle, life expectancy, and life insurance, okay? Here we have like words can combine to make new words. This is the meaning of compound nouns and adjectives. Look at the examples. Where are the nouns and which are the nouns and which are the adjectives we already mentioned. In number one, guys, here, how many compound can you make by combining the words in the circle? We have home and we have house. Okay? We have home and house. Can I say home wife? Of course no. Okay? Can I say home less? Yes. Less and home can be homeless, which is a person who doesn't have a place to live in, okay? So here, with the words home and house, we need, to match to make compound nouns. Let me help you with this. Okay, home. I can say homework, homemade, homeless, homesick. Of course, you can find the meaning in the dictionary, okay? If you are unfamiliar to some of them. I can say hometown and homecoming, and also I can say homegrown and homepage. Okay? For the word house, I can say housework also. So I can say homework and housework. Okay? I can say house proud, housewarming. When you say housewarming party, you know, like if you are moving to a new house, you invite your friends and relatives to and have a party. We call it, you know, housewarming party. Also, we can say housebound and houseplant, and as I said already, housework. Okay, so these are the words that we are using with home and house. Please, you know, try to put them in sentences. But which are nouns and which are adjectives, you need to tell me about. Okay. To use the dictionary to know the meanings and the spellings. I already, like, you know, mentioned the spellings. So try to find which ones are adjectives and which ones are nouns. And after that, I want you to try to do exercise number 3. Okay, to maybe you can figure out which words to put. And next class, I'm going to give you the answers and, you know, check your work if you do or not. And we are going to listen and to continue with the last, you know, part of this unit and start unit 2. Okay. The last part is going to be like very, you know, common, which is everyday English, how we talk about. I already gave a lot of examples in this unit. I think I repeated myself many times, you know, giving examples, but we're going to go through it very fast and then move to unit 2. That was everything for today. Related to the vocabulary and compound nouns and nouns, I'm gonna explain. I think I ran out of time, but, you know, I wanted to do the exercise here. And when I'm giving you the answers next class, I will, you know, tell you more details. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you for being with me today. I hope you can, you know, manage to do this and to use the vocabulary you learned, and please go back to the reading, read it again, try to learn, and try, as I already mentioned, like always, use a notebook. Try to write the new vocabulary you learned on your notebook. Try to make your own dictionary. You never know when you need it again or when you want to use it again. You will find it ready. Thank you very much again. Wish you the best. Stay home, stay safe. Goodbye.